episode 15 of the Tour de Franzo takes us into the People's Republic of Victoria, a beautiful part of the country, long dominated by the Labor Party, and I won't mention the world record breaking lockdowns during COVID. Let's just get into the Tour de Franzo instead. Saturday 13th of July, our intrepid explorer, that's me, finally made it to Naracoorte. Yes, Naracoorte, home of my nephew John and his wife Vanessa, to a week of sumptuous meals, of pistol shooting, and even more sumptuous meals, of enjoying Naracoorte's nightlife over more sumptuous meals. The Naracoorte Caves. Oh, what the heck, let's have a bit of a look, shall we? Unfortunately, I could fit neither John nor Vanessa on my bike trailer, let alone the Naracoorte Caves, so as I headed off down towards Mount Gambier, I did unfortunately have to leave them behind, along with their sumptuous meals. So this is where I went. I headed off from Naracoorte to Mary MacKillop country in Penola, from Penola to Mount Gambier, where I stayed with my friend Peter Whitehead, over the Victorian border to a little spot called Dartmoor overnight, and then at Drumborg my friend Stan picked me up to take me into Portland. Road south turned out to be rather flat with fairly respectable tailwinds, but of course on the Riddoch Highway heavy traffic was becoming more of a concern, still with some lovely places to pull over and stop and have a rest and a bit of a feed and partake of the lovely Mary MacKillop country. About 20 kilometres north of Penola is this Father Woods Park. Father, let me think of his name. Yeah, Father Woods was a priest in this area, and he was also a scientist. He was a paleontologist as well as geologist, as well as a preacher, and it is in this area that he often prepared his sermons while camping out. He often preached here, celebrated Mass, and he co-founded the Order of St. Joseph of the Sacred Heart, I think that's the name of it, with Mary MacKillop. So I'll just give you a look at the sculptures here. Let me have a look. And there is Father John Woods at work preaching, and the big tree there with the sign on it, that there's the tree under which he often would be preaching. And then I got to Penola, home of wine, home of Mary MacKillop, an interesting overnight at the pub. Well, after a sumptuous meal of another chicken schnitzel with pepper sauce and a couple of pints of Geezer Pleaser beer, it was finally time to head off again on Tuesday morning. It was through timber country, more log trucks, heavier traffic, but a lot of the way the verge was pretty good. Another real blessing was lack of rain. Second day out of Naracoorte going down towards Mount Gambier, rain had been forecast, but fortunately I managed to avoid all that sort of nonsense somehow. And I was met by Andrew Dolan, John's boss, who was on his way down to Mount Gambier. Andrew himself is a keen cyclist and very interested in my trip. He shouted me a cappuccino and a sandwich. Going through Nangwarry and Tarpina, the road gradually got hillier and the traffic got heavier until at last I got to Mount Gambier. Yes, Mount Gambier, home of the Blue Lake, home of trees, home of Little Blue Lake, home of my old friend Peter Whitehead and some wonderful warm hospitality over some more sumptuous meals. Port Macdonald was just down the road with its rugged coastline, its wild surf, and the lookout with its views of the surrounding country. And then inevitably it was time to head eastwards through more lovely flat roads on the Prince's Highway, land of forests, beautiful tailwinds, and then it was off over the border to the People's Republic of Victoria. Yes, home of Dan Andrews the Führer, of lockdowns, of compulsory masking, and yes, the scenery was pretty good too, as the hills were getting bigger. Onwards, upwards, Dartmoor was getting closer. But then, pig-headed persistence and sheer endurance, Dartmoor arrived. Unfortunately, the pub was closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. There's nothing so boring, its walls I'll headbutt, for I can't sit in the bar of the pub that is shut. Still, it's not all bad. Just look at this lovely free camping area. I actually wound up bedding down under the gazebo in the middle of this camping ground. Weather Willie said the overnight temperature was going to get down to 1 degree. One of the locals next morning told me it got down to -1. Then it was onwards and upwards, pedal, pedal, press on, franzo, keep going. Because Portland, lovely Portland, was just down the road, beckoning, calling, Franz, come to me. Of course, Portland will be the object of the next video. So, will there be Godzilla attacks? Will I be swooped by the mighty magpies? Will the Führer Dan Andrews get me? Will I make it out of Victoria alive? Stay tuned for episode 16 of the Tour de Franzo. Meanwhile, if you've enjoyed this video, do press click, like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. And don't forget, you can shout me a beer if you click on the copy and paste the link down below to my GoFundMe page, because after all, even in Victoria, cycling is thirsty work. Thank you for your support and your interest. See you next time, Franzerisers.